West Ham will be aiming to maintain our perfect start to the 21-22 Europa League on Thursday evening when we face Genk at the London Stadium. West Ham have won both games so far without conceding a goal, while the visitors currently find themselves in third place after one victory and one loss. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton, joined by Mr. Stato, who's over that side. Matt, how you doing, mate? You well?
I'm good. I'm excited, but
yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and matter on for 4 or 5 minutes because I literally know nothing about Genk. So,
well, I know. But listen, I mean, it's the Europa League, though. We're back in action, and we're coming off a good victory at the weekend. Momentum, fingers crossed, is in our way. But you know, it's the Europa League. How you feeling about it? 2 wins out of 2, no goals conceded, like I've said. Feeling positive?
It's
scared to see it.
It's set up well that if we can win tomorrow, it's qualifications. I don't want to say assured, but given where everyone else is, potentially anywhere from a 3 to 6 point cushion.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting one, this one, because it's almost like playing a knockout game because we are actually playing them back to back, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting night at the London Stadium. Are you going, Matt?
I am going, yes. I will be there.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm jealous, mate. I'm jealous I'm not going. But obviously, circumstances, I am not allowed to leave my premises. I'm not allowed to be within 4 or 5 miles. It sounds really dodgy, actually, doesn't it? But of course, my wife is due, our baby, literally in 3.5 weeks. So I'm not allowed to leave anywhere, be far away from.
He's in lockdown.
From it. Yeah, I'm in lockdown, my own mini lockdown. Anyway, without further ado, there's no point in me and you trying to talk about the opposition. So let's go and talk, and let's find out more about Genk. Let's talk the opposition, mate. Again, I don't know what's happening to the music, but I will resolve that moving forward. Don't worry. Anyway, please, everyone, please welcome Mikey. Mikey's a massive Genk fan. How you doing, Mikey? Okay?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And no problem for the music. I played some jazz in my mind. It's all good.
He knows our channel very well. You really do, Mikey. So, Mikey, I've spoke to you very briefly before you came on, and it's a pleasure to have you on, especially the fact that, you know, you love the club that you support and you give us the insight into your team that we desperately need. But, you know, tell everyone where you live and you know, the connection to Genk and all that sort of stuff, if you don't mind.
Alrighty. Well, so I'm Michiel Vosse, but I don't mind if you call me Mike, Michael, whatever. So I live in a very small village in Belgium, approximately 60 kilometers from the Genk Stadium. I'm a father of 2 boys. By the way, congrats on the soon-to-be dad, Anton.
That's number 3. That's number 3.
Oh, going strong there. Okay,
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going there, but that's okay. As a job, I'm a video marketer for a company called Epic Frame. So we make animation videos, live action videos. I also make some music under the name Your Countdown. And of course, last but not least, I've been a fan of Krc Genk my whole life.
Cool, man. Excellent. Brilliant. Fantastic. So, how are you feeling about the Europa League? Listen, if you don't mind, before we even go into Europa League, talking about the current club form, you know, from my little bit of investigational work, it's not been looking so good this season so far. So what's been happening and things going on with the manager, etc.?
Well, it's not that odd for Genk to have a dip in form. We're a club that since the beginning, since we started in 1989, because we're still a pretty young club, we've always had those ups and downs where players gain form and get together, create a strong team, win the championship, and then those players leave and the form dips. Currently, we're experiencing a little dip in form We've lost the last 2 games, one of which we never should have lost because we were up 2-0 and then we still lost 3-2. So that never should happen. But it might be a bit lack of concentration. Maybe because Paul Onuachu, our main striker, has been in the topic in the transfer window for Atletico Madrid recently. I'm not sure if those rumors are true, but I can imagine that it plays in his mind because last summer he was pretty eager to leave, but no decent offer came through. So maybe it plays a bit on his mind because last game, he missed 2 penalties in the same situation because the penalty had to be retaken and he missed them both, which is pretty odd for Onuachu.
Yeah,
to say.
Because he came off of it's quite handy to talk about this player because what was interesting was throughout most of last season, West Ham were linked to this player. However, today, for the first time, David Moyes spoke out during his press conference, the West Ham manager, to state that he was never on West Ham's target. He was never a player that was on West Ham's target. Now, that's not him disrespecting him as a player. I think that was him just saying that he looks for a particular style of player and he wasn't the one that he was looking for because of the current striker that West Ham deals with. But this player we're talking about, Onuachu, I mean, he's scored a lot of goals last season, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I think he's the number 1 top scorer in Belgium for a whole competition. I think he shares it with one other player. I'm not sure. I think he shares it. I think he had 33 goals or something.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. Coming
absolutely.
from a Belgian team, to say it like that.
Excellent. So, with form not doing so well, talk to me about your manager and the kind of team as a whole, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So we're managed by a Dutchman, John van den Brom. And overall, the consensus within the fans is that he's pretty decent. He's making a whole of the team, which is something that's always troubling because Genk, as I said, is the kind of team where players come at a young age, they grow, they develop, and then they leave for a top 5 Europe competition. And John has managed to keep the team as how should I call it as a whole, whereas other managers usually don't have that kind of success. So we're pretty happy with John, even though the results from the last weeks aren't that great, but we're still pretty happy with him. The team overall, there are not a lot of occasion, and I think the whole pandemic situation does help, where we can keep the team together. So players like Onuachu, like Brian Heine, who also had a bit of interest from exterior, if I'm correct, they all managed to stay here, and that's great for us because that means that we can continue from the great team we had last year towards the European League, and of course our own domestic competitions.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Listening to what Mikey is having to say about Genk, what do you think about? I mean, Onuachu, for example, is he 6'7" as well? He's a big, tall lad.
And he's a bear.
Yeah, and coming up against maybe some of the defenders that West Ham have got currently, we've got a few potential niggles at fullback. But what do you think about what Mikey said?
Onuachu's an interesting one because I know Moyes tried to sweep him under the carpet, didn't he? I can't. I honestly, I'm thinking if that's like a Moyes tactic, because the amount we were linked with him and the sort of teams that he's been linked with, like he must be on the radar. And like Mikey said, he said he's 6'7". He scored a lot of goals. So and he said they like have up and down spells. It's not unreasonable for them to have a down spell at some point, which sounds a lot like us, to be honest, or the old us. We go through lots of spells where we'd be up, then down. I was looking at the team, the way they play. I think they'll get us. I think they cause problems. It's you know what? Now, on Atsu, I still think it could be. Moyes will want to see what he's like tomorrow. He want to see what he's about. It might all be like like a little close scouting trip for him.
Do you, Mikey? Do you think then, when you're talking about, the fact that he scored a lot of goals and he's not hit form this season, and maybe his head has been turned by interest? I mean, West Ham are so used to that. West Ham at that level, we've got players and people you hear of links to other clubs, and their heads get turned and their form dips a little bit. I mean, away from Oniachu for a second, I mean, who else in the team is going to cause West Ham concern tomorrow?
Well, on paper, I mean, I think you guys have the team that has both the most experience and the most potential. So I think if you guys stand up as a team, it's going to be pretty hard for us. However, we do have some secret weapons, and I love the fact that everyone always keeps talking about Onwuachu, because that's, of course, the guy that got the results, that got the statistics behind his name. But we got two wingers, both Ito and Bongonda, who dare to come in and be vicious, especially Ito, who can just he can start on the right flank, just dribble his way in and bury it in the net with a speed that cannot be focused. The thing is, everyone's always going to watch Onwuachu, because I kind of suspect that you guys are going to your two lost defenders will probably just keep an eye out for him. While in fact, it's the link between Onwuachu and Ito that's so deadly, because Ito can both cross it in a way that only Onwuachu can hit it, but he can also dribble in. That's very vicious. Bongonda also has that skill, but in my opinion, it's a bit less developed and a bit less optimized compared to Ito and Onwuachu's link up. And then a last weapon, and I hope John van den Brom decides to play it, is that Torstvedt, one of our midfielders, can play pretty high up, and he's the kind of guy no one watches. And if your keeper or your defenders can clear a ball and it comes in his feet and he has the room, he might just bury it deep. And that can be troubling.
Is he a forward-thinking player then, Torstvedt?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got creativity in your team, and of course you're going to have creativity in your team when your main striker is scoring 33 goals, because those goals have to be assisted by somewhere. And like you said, maybe the problem was no teams were nullifying that threat. And I think the concern for West Ham, really, Matt, is that West Ham are on form and Genk currently aren't on form, but no one can remotely take away from the fact that Genk have been playing European football and West Ham haven't. So you kind of rise to the occasion and all that. And do you think that's going to play a part in the game tomorrow, Matt?
I think we said about this before. I think it definitely will. We are the rookies. We are one of the rookies in this tournament. Forget what everyone else says. I suppose maybe that works in our advantage sometimes because we're sort of unknown, but then everyone sees the Premier League. It depends on the mentality of the players and David Moyes, doesn't it? Is Moyes going to make them, don't disrespect this, don't take this lightly? This is a team with, like you said, good European pedigree, regularly qualify. Or do they just go out and go, this is going to be easy? You hope they don't disrespect it and treat it easy, because it's not going to be an easy game. I was looking through the team, a couple of players I was looking at, and no, you wouldn't want to take this game easy. This is, regardless of what we would say, games aren't played on paper, are they? No. We know this as West Ham fans, that plenty of times, like we've been to Old Trafford or Anfield and we've been told we've got no chance, we're going to lose, and then we turn up, we might not win, but we'll get a point out of it and we'll play well. Yeah. So we disrespect Genk at our own potential downfall.
But we've not. I think we've learned that lesson. That's the old West Ham. We don't tend to disrespect the opposition. I think fans maybe do, but Moyes certainly doesn't. I think our old management style and our old way would be we respected. You never respected the opposition, and therefore we'd come up against people who were struggling, and that would go against West Ham as such. But Mikey, back to you. The last couple of games you've played in Europa League, I've got the results here. You beat Rapid Vienna in the first game 1-0, and then came to a big loss against Dinamo Zagreb in the second game. So what happened, and what was the difference between the two games?
Difference between the two, if I remember correctly, Vienna played a pretty defensive strategy, so it was hard for us to combine in the zone where it mattered. We only got the winning goal in like minute 89 or really last minute. So it has been quite a challenging game, because if we can't combine in the zone where it matters, it's really hard for us to have the pace, the efficiency to get in a position where we can shoot. Yeah. So they played that game pretty great, but they played it a bit too much to get the 1 point, and in the end that didn't work out for them, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Second game against Zagreb, you have to be honest, they were better. They had the mentality, they had hunger, they wanted it more than us. And in Belgium newspapers, they went on and said, we were a bit unlucky. Mostly the analysts, the players themselves knew. But they were like, we're a bit unlucky, but that's not the game I saw. I saw a Dinamo Zagreb that just wanted it more and got it. So good lesson for us.
Yeah, and then when it comes to the game tomorrow, in particular, you've played twice. You're on the marker with 3 points. West Ham currently sitting sixth. I think they're looking like they're favourites for the potential group. However, that means nothing really on the night, especially when you're coming up against a team like West Ham. How do you think the manager is going to set up against West Ham, especially being away from home? And listen, West Ham fans are now being brought, the away fans from Europe have been brought to West Ham's attention for the first time in such a long time. And, the Vienna fans were, the noise they created inside that stadium that night was absolutely manic. But listen, we've done a little bit of investigating, and we know that your fans are up for it and can make a really good atmosphere. They're going to be travelling. We know there's going to be fans there. I don't know how many tickets have been sold for the game at the London Stadium. But a night under the lights at the London Stadium, do you think that occasion may get to them? Or do you think that the manager's going to go out there and go all hell for leather?
The thing I love most about Genk is the fact that we start every game with the intention to win it. It doesn't matter if it's against a second division team in Belgium or against one of the biggest clubs like Chelsea or Barcelona. We're always in it to get those 3 points. And of course, if we start a game and 5 minutes in we're 1-0 down, okay, yeah, it gets a bit tough. And that plays on our players' nerves. But I do like the fact that every game will start to get that goal, to get that advantage, and to press our opponents back into their own half. So I'm expecting a squad that'll try to get the win.
Yeah, to go for it and try. Sometimes, Matt, these games in particular can be quite dangerous when it's coming up against West Ham in particular, because we have the momentum, Genk don't, but you always fear. I really fear that teams like that. I felt the same against Vienna. I was proven wrong, but I feel the same against Genk as well. Mikey, we've got a couple of questions from the chat. I'm going to bring up for you just now. So Peter Chapman is saying, are you flying over for the game tomorrow, or has COVID stopped travel? And what is the situation with COVID for in Belgium just now?
Belgium just turned red again, so that's great. Well, no, I'm not traveling over because all the COVID restrictions, and combined with the fact that I have a 3-month-old boy here, you know how it is. It was just a bit too difficult to go watch the game and make it back home.
Yeah, of course.
It's unfortunate because normally I'd love to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know your pain. I feel your pain. Don't you worry about that. Barry's asking, who is Genk's best defender? Who defensively do West Ham fans need to watch out for tomorrow evening?
I still love Lukumi most. I think Carlos Cuesta made a great appearance in the last international break, but Lukumi has got such a chill vibe. He has the vision to oversee the game, to see where issues might be forming. He is something. I'm not saying he's the best defender we ever had, but he can stop an attack and start a counter attack just with his vision. So I really hope he's on form. If he's on form, it's going to be a difficult game for West Ham. That's for sure.
Rhonda and Tony Tanti have said, do you feel Genk are weak against a counter-attacking team? What kind of West Ham what would suit Genk's style of play?
If done correctly, yes. Because we know that when we're pressing high, we leave options. And last year, for example, we still had Joachim Mele in our team, the guy who's been amazing with Denmark, and he had the pace to be in an attack, and if a counter attack was set up, he could make his way back, and we're missing those kind of elements right now. So if we're too far up and a counter attack happens and it's fast enough, it can slice our defense definitely. So counterattacking, if done correctly, it has to be like counterattacking in 3 or 4 stations. If you're taking more, it's not a problem. You shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't.
Matt, I've got a question for you to read out to Mikey there.
So is Onuachu just the target man? Is he just a big man that brings the ball down, wins the headers? How would what will he do if we cut off the supply? If we stop the crosses coming in, how would he get involved in the game?
He wouldn't, and that can be a tactic indeed. But as I said, it opens up the space. It opens up the space for Ito and Bongonda on the sides. So in that case, I expect a lot from Ito, who has just signed a new contract with us. So I think his motivation is pretty high. So yeah, you can cut him off. He'll still be a danger in the air because usually he's bigger than everyone else. But I'm expecting a lot from Ito if he doesn't get the ball.
Yeah. I've got one more question before we ask you who we think the starting lineup will be for Genk and then your predictions. From P. Gads, he talks about, are your travelling supporters as nutty as the rest of the group? So what do we West Ham fans expect from your fans tomorrow evening when they walk in through the gates of the London Stadium?
Usually you hear them for the whole 90 minutes. We do have some special chants. For example, one time, I'm not sure which season it was, we had Chelsea over, and I remember the press the next day saying that how impressed they were with the atmosphere, and that was of course a home game. And in those home matches, you always have like the strong core supporters, and they usually all go all the way into Europe. So you'll get the loudest people. I'm not sure how they'll compare to Vienna, for example, because as you said, I've also heard they were ridiculously loud.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure
and
you'll
and and
hear him.
and wild and wild. I might add, very wild. We actually scored a goal in the end where the fans were, and our player Declan Rice, he ran over to the corner, celebrated kind of between the two fans, and it caused a little bit of a little problem. But anyway, we won't talk about that just now. Matt, I think you've got a
Usually
question.
that's not a problem.
Yeah.
So I just got two quick questions. I was going through your team from your last Europa League game against Dynamo Zagreb. I noticed you had a left winger starting by the name of Pencil.
Pencil.
I was
yeah?
just wondering, is he any relation to a Jordan Pencil? I noticed they're both Ghanaian.
I don't
So
know.
it's funny you brought this up because when I seen him, I did start to do some Google research into it, and I don't think there is a connection. I even went into the system. So, Mikey, just for your reference, we had a player that played for West Ham called John Panstill. It was
Yeah,
Okay.
John Panstill that played for us, Ghanaian
about
international.
15 years ago.
Yeah, maybe something like that. And I just went in to search and actually take the two players' names in side by side, but nothing came up. So unless my research was wrong, I don't think there is a connection there.
I don't think he's Ghanaian as well, so
Right, okay.
I think he's more like Ivory Coast, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Right, okay.
Not quite
Second
sure.
question I had was your goalkeeper,
Yeah.
Van der Vaart. Anyone that plays FIFA Football Manager will know that he was like a wonder kid last year, but what's it like playing with him? Obviously, he's like 19 years old. How has he coped with the pressures? Like, 'cause we always talk about, like in the UK, you very rarely see a goalkeeper that young be put into a first team of a Premier League team. But of course, in Europe, they seem to do it all the time. So how was that brought about? How's he coped? How's he performed?
I believe he's up to this date the youngest goalkeeper to ever play in the Champions League. I believe he was 16 years old when our first keeper, Danny Vukovic, was out with an injury, a long injury. And he took his place, and we lost against Naples, but who doesn't? But I have such great stories. I'm going to share one if I have the time.
Yeah, of course you do.
About Van der Vaart. And this is one that his trainer once told on national TV. He was like in the U18 of Genk, and no, it's younger, U17, I believe. And the squad was having a terrible spell. The strikers couldn't get the goals, couldn't find the goals, couldn't get the combinations. And the trainer, he said, like, I went up to Van der Vaart and I asked him, like, hey, to boost morale, just let a few goals in. Let's keep the guys motivated. And apparently Van der Vaart said, coach, I'm going to catch them all. And he did.
And he did.
Yeah. So Van der Vaart is a bit of a Genk prodigy, a bit in the same category as Thibaut Courtois was when he first started playing for us. But we see a lot of the same similarities, although Courtois shows a bit more leadership at his age. But Van der Vaart is, probably a goalkeeper to watch in the next few years. Yeah.
Before we ask you for your team lineup expected tomorrow, is there a particular player that you know from West Ham, and if there is, that you fear for the game tomorrow?
Yeah, Rice. I always
Declan
get
Rice.
the guy in my squad.
Yeah.
When I play FIFA, he's always one of the first, like the first 2 seasons. As soon as I can afford him in any team, I just get him in. He's got such a solid vibe to him. He knows where the space is, and I'm sad that I haven't been able to watch him in a live game on TV or something. But from all the stuff I've seen from him, he's something else.
He's
and
just for your reference as well, like as West Ham fans, I mean, it's a privilege to watch him week in and week out. But he is, he really is a privilege to watch, and he probably gives us anything between, I mean, no less than an 8 out of 10 every single week, and maybe more than that every
No,
week.
that's
It's maybe a
almost
9.
yeah.
It's maybe a 9 or a 10 every week, and it's in every game that he plays. He's phenomenal. He's
Those are the kind of
outrageously,
players that you
yeah,
love the most, right? And
absolutely.
I'm also a big fan of what seems to be your second goalkeeper, Ariola.
Areola,
Ariola.
yeah.
The things I've seen from him are pretty impressive from time to time, and
Yeah.
not quite sure how he's being benched, because your
Yeah.
first goalkeeper is like 36 years old, right?
Yeah, so
Fabianski,
he's
yeah.
Lucas Fabianski. So we
Yeah.
have a situation, and it's not a bad situation. We've got the Poland international goalkeeper who's just recently retired, but Fabianski's come from a good, good pedigree. He's played at Arsenal, Swansea, West Ham. He's a good Premier League goalkeeper. We've brought in Areola on a really good deal. It's a good deal. It's a future deal as well. It's a loan with an option to buy, and it's quite a cheap option. He does cost quite a lot per week, though, in his weekly salary. He has previously played for a whole year of football in the Premier League for Fulham and was up there, wasn't he, Matt, with all the ranks of the thing. So, but what we've got under David Moyes is a manager that's extremely loyal to players who play well. So it's going to take a lot for them players to be kicked out and a player to come in. However, Areola's opportunity is going to come because he will probably play tomorrow evening, like he just played in the Rapid Vienna game. So his opportunity, we all think as West Ham fans, will come eventually. And if he does sign on the dotted line, could go on to be our goalkeeper for many years. But that's circumstances that take that. So,
absolutely.
Mikey, just before we ask your predictions, formation, and if you don't mind, just kind of naming, you go for your prediction, your team prediction.
Okay, well, so I'm pretty sure that we'll play 4 at the back and 3 in up front. So the only question is how we're gonna put down our midfield. We can play 3 central midfielders, or we can go 1 central attacking midfielder. And I do hope that's the case, because in that case, I'd having goal, of course, Van der Voort. Right back would be Preciado, by missing Munoz with his red card.
Mm-hmm.
Then center Cuesta Lukumi. That solidity, you need those guys, and I do hope they are strong tomorrow. Next up, left back will be probably Arteaga, a Mexican guy. He's really in form. He has that kind of Mele attitude, that Joachim Mele attitude of going up front and seeing what he can do.
Okay.
It's a very ugly tattoo on his neck. I've never seen that before. It's so strange, but that's okay. Well, okay. So midfield, we're surely going to play Hane. Hane is our captain. He's a youth product, so he's been with Genk for, I believe, 10, 12 years, something like that. So he's really grown up from the youth. He's what Racing Genk stands for. Tresor probably will join him, but I'm not quite sure about him. That's the kind of player that John might rotate. Torstvedt, not sure either, but I do hope he plays him, because Torstvedt can make the difference when it comes to finding those free spaces that are created when everyone joins up on Wachu.
Yeah.
So I do hope he plays him in that central attacking midfield. Right winger is Ito, probably without a doubt. Left winger, probably Bongonda, although he might play Paintsill, but I don't think that's the right choice for West Ham. And up front, well, it's going to be on the Wachu.
Yeah. Absolutely. Excellent. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to have your insight. Honestly, I think everyone in the chat, we've had many comments saying it's brilliant to have you on. And it has been, it's given us really nice insight into your club, your team, and it's better coming from you than it is from us, because we can sit here and just do as much as research as we want, but you watch your club week in and week out, and as Paul Evans has said there, what a decent bloke, you know your football, and it really does, with so many nice comments that have come out throughout the show.
Thank you.
Before you do go, though, Mikey, I want to ask you what your predictions will be for tomorrow. And don't worry, you can say what you want. It's fine.
No, let's take this. Okay, well, I think both teams are going to come out attacking. So both defenses will be tested. I think both teams will be mature enough to hold it. Let's say West Ham scores in minute 40, 41. Can Genk come back? Yes. Yeah, but we're going to go in Genk fashion. We're going to go in Genk fashion. It's going to come down. So we're going to go 1-1.
1-1.
At minute 55. And then
he's going right
87,
for it.
Minute 87, we're either going to concede or we're going to score. One of those.
Okay. Ooh, he's going for a drama.
Go for a drama,
This sounds
but
exciting.
We're not. Whatever happens, we're not drawing. That's not
drawing.
From what I learned from West Ham. It's not what you guys are up to, and it's not what we're up to. So we're going for the win, or we're going to lose. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely comments coming in there. Nice one, Michelle. Mikel. I'm terrible for pronunciation, so I'll say Mikey.
It's not a problem.
Great info on Genk. Seems like a good fella. Oh, sorry, was that gone? This Mikey, best of luck after tomorrow. Great analysis, Mikey, as well. So listen, Mikey, I'd love to have you back on for the next game, and we can have a little kind of talk again. So I'll be in touch if that's okay with you.
Oh, damn! I gotta write down my prediction. God.
Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. And
I'm gonna get called out.
I'll bring you back on and we'll have a chat about it, and we'll go from there. So honestly, pleasure having you on. Thank you very much for joining us, and stay safe and all the best after tomorrow.
See you.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye. Cheers, mate.
Bye. Cheers, mate. Absolutely. Honestly, for me.
Oh, mate, what a bloke! Where did you find this guy?
Yeah. It's just amazing. It gets me really in the mood for the game, to be honest, because it gives me really nice insight, like I said, into the opposition, and it's better coming from their mouths than it is from our mouths as well. It gets you up, it gets you G'd up, and do you know what it does, Matt? It gets me G'd up for European games. We're talking to European fans. We're talking to a fan from Belgium who loves his club Genk, who before we're qualifying for Europa League, we're sitting talking about the Europa League, but we're actually now talking to these fans, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Look, you don't know what to say.
I was buzzing. Like he was up there with some of the best fans we've had on, to be honest. I was quite blown away. Nice. And considering that, again, English isn't his first language.
And there he is there, your countdown. Thank you guys for having me. Love to hang out. Absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. So before we go and talk about our beloved, beautiful Claret Blue West Ham club, we've got another guest coming on, Stato, and he's very well known in the West Ham world because he does a lot of hard work for the we'll bring him on and ask him. John Ratomski, how are you? You well?
Anton, welcome. Stato, good to see you both. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be at the game, John Ratomski. So for anyone that doesn't know, John, give us a little introduction, and I've got a link I'll put in the chat. So if anyone is interested in doing a donation, then they can go ahead and do that.
Smashing, Anton. Thanks. Well, we run Iron Supporting Food Banks, which we started a couple of years ago. Went through lockdown, did other projects for Newham community, but we're pleased that we're back now from August this year at every single home game. And we are setting up on the walkway on Stratford Walk from Westfield to the stadium, and we're always there 3 hours before kick-off on the benches on the left-hand side, and you'll see our exactly there where we normally have a banner. So we're there to collect donations on the QR code on the shiny that Canning Town Len has made for us. If people aren't carrying cash or aren't bringing any food, they're very, very welcome just to make a QR donation to our Just Giving page. Otherwise, we're collecting change for cash. and obviously food. The basics that we always look for to supply Newham Food Bank are tinned foods, tinned fish. They're always in demand, but otherwise it's the usual rice and pasta, which go well. And then Newham Food Bank will be there tomorrow with us, as they are every game, and they'll take away everything that's collected and start to distribute that throughout the 6 centres in Newham where they operate each day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone that is watching that is planning on, first and foremost, if you are going to the game, do pop over and just say hi to John and all the team, because they're honestly they're a lovely bunch of people. Let's help them as much as we possibly can. We've got an audience, we've got a crowd. It's the best thing we can do. On top of that, I've put a link in the chat so you can go and donate while you are watching live right now. And we're looking, and the guys and John are looking for all different kind of types of ways of donating. John's already mentioned it. If you've got some food kicking about that you can afford to be able to bring along, then please do. They'll take the donation there as well. And it's all about helping the local community and really helping people, isn't it, John?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just got so worse now. Universal credit has changed, furlough and all the rest. A lot of people are struggling in the Newham community. It is very, very sad to see. The big party will take place when society in this country decides that there's no more need for food banks. But until that day comes, we'll do our best. We've got a great fan base behind us that understands the community. With 60,000 fans in that stadium every fortnight, we can make a massive difference as football fans. To helping fight poverty in Newham. We see at other stadiums in the country, Newcastle United, at Liverpool and Everton. We saw how active the Everton van was on Sunday, people coming with bags. And I know Anfield earlier this season, they collected 55 trays of food that were donated by fans going to the game. And those two football sets of supporters now contribute 30% of all the food bank donations in North Liverpool. So football fans make a massive, massive difference.
Oh, they
do. This is what we're trying to achieve with our capacity. We reckon there's probably 40,000 walking past us over 2 or 3 hours on the way to the ground. And we're there just to say hello, make friends, just to talk to the fans and look for their support. And we get support from the club as well. They've helped so much with getting us off the ground, and from the chairman down right to the players that have had whip rounds for us after training, through Mark Noble, who'd made a donation, through Declan Rice, who'd made a donation as well. So they're right behind us as well, and it's great to see this sort of collective movement that supports us and supports Newham Food Bank as a result.
Perfect. And some people in the chat are just asking to double check where you're going to be situated. So we've got a picture here. So the location is opposite the Park Information Centre on Stratford Walk, just before the Aquatic Centre. And I think that location, that picture, is literally where you are based, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We'll have a banner up that's stretched between those two flagpoles. So we're there to, you can't miss us. We're on the left-hand side there as you're walking towards the stadium.
Absolutely. And another thing, I approached John about something that my wife wanted to do as part of her current business, which was my wife works. She was made redundant last year, but she started her own business. It's doing very well, and she wanted to launch. I asked her to see if she could do something West Hammy, and she made some Christmas decorations, and they've actually gone live this evening. And my wife is going to make a donation per sale that she makes to the Iron supporting food banks, because of course, I know people may say to me, well, Anton, you don't live down south, but my father is from Newham, and that's my connection to West Ham, and it's nice when it's the club I follow all my life, and it's everything I've done. I'm down a lot, and it's just the area that I would love to support and give something back. So I'm going to put a link in, but I've got them here as well, and there's going to be pictures coming up. So what she can actually do is do a Christmas bauble, which is going to have West Ham United. It's got a little gold. I don't know if the picture here, but there's a picture on the website, and then you can personalize it with your name and your favorite football number on the back as well. So my favorite number when I played was number 6, and my surname is actually Baker, as well. So it's going to be West Ham United Gold, and there is going to be a donation. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the chat for anyone who's interested as well to go across there and check them out. And it's just little ways of helping the food bank out as well. So go and check them out. And Clive coming in there saying donated twice now. Great work, John, and your team.
Thank you.
So
Thanks,
it's
Clive.
absolutely fantastic. John, are you happy to stay around for about 10 minutes, talk West Ham?
Sure, indeed. I'd always talk West Ham. Yes, I'm sorry I couldn't get on sooner. We had kind of meetings going on this evening.
Don't worry. So, like we always do, Matt, it's time to talk West Ham. And John, before we move into it, we actually tend to do a little bit of the press conference. Now, I know I do a video the day of the press conference and it leads into the preview, but we just pull some of the images back out and talk them through because they're relevant. So let's go and have a little look and see what the gaffer had to say. So we know from David Moyes' press conference that there are a few players we need to keep an eye on. We had to do a little bit of digging, and we saw that from the open training session that Alex Kroll was missing, but we know he's got COVID, so he's going to have to self-isolate. We know Vladimir Sufal was missing because he has picked up a little niggle, and we fully don't expect him to take part in the game tomorrow. First person out on the training ground was Tommy Souček after his work on his face this evening, and a player who turned up to the press conference was Vlasic, and it was confirmed that he will start. So based upon that information and the fact that Tommy Souček was first out there in the training ground, I'll put this one over to you, John. How do you feel about Souček playing the game tomorrow, even with such a big game coming up on Sunday as well?
I don't want him to play tomorrow. He needs a rest. He's looked tired for a few games now. I was at Everton on Sunday, and even he just looks as if he needs a rest. I think they rested him for the game at Old Trafford for the cup game. He certainly needed that. But even in the game at Leeds, he made the mistake that created the goal, and he just looked tired and sloppy on the ball, even back then. So that's my feeling. I think we've got to get somebody else in there just to at least start in his position tomorrow.
What do you think about that then, Matt? I know we've been discussing, and I think last week me and Russ and I done a video in relation to the Rice and Souček combination, and I think at Everton we got to see the best of both of them. Not that we weren't seeing the best, but the connection was there again, and that was definitely very helpful for West Ham. There's no ifs or buts about it, though. I think some players do need to have time out from playing, especially when we're going back to Thursday, Sunday again. Based upon what John said and based upon what Moyes has said in the press conference, because he went on and he said Souček wants to play, basically, is what he's saying. Let me have a look here. No, that's Vlasic. Let me find it. It's just coming to me. There's so many images. I didn't even put the one up. So Thomas wants to play. He has had his lip sculptured by a plastic surgeon. He has some on his cheek and his nose and eyebrows. I said to him, "Look at my eyebrows, Thomas. All mine are stretched off after years of being a centre half. He's got a few more stitches to go before he gets out of that level." So, but the situation is that he obviously wants to play games. Matt, what do you do with the Souček situation?
I would probably bench him, and I wouldn't say he has looked leggy in games, but I think, like you said, at Sunday he looked. Rice and him tweaked like the tactics, and he got full before Rice sat, and they looked better back to what they were. I would just rest him because of the stitches. Like, it's you could say you want to play him because Onuachu's going to be big and you want guys defending well. But I just think, you know what, if he plays Thursday night and he takes like just a flailing arm and it cuts open all them stitches, he may then not play Sunday.
Yeah.
So for me, I just to give the stitches a few days to settle, I'd probably leave him out where it's all possible. Stick him on the bench, and if we do need to bring him on, he's there available.
We will come on to building the starting 11 in a second, but let's talk about a few other players before we do that. Soufal will be missing, and it's, he's picked up that niggly injury. Ben Johnson stepped into the equation against Everton. I personally have enjoyed watching Johnson, even though I prefer him on the right. I thought he put a good turnout for West Ham against Manchester United in the League Cup, personally, for a player playing out of position on the left back. Do we expect him to play in the right back position tomorrow, considering we've got Tottenham at the weekend, or do you see, John, another change being made back there?
Well, I think he's certainly young enough to take on another game tomorrow. Certainly, he's going to be confident. I think when we saw him on Sunday, it took him a while to settle, and he made a few misplaced passes early on, but soon got his confidence back. And as the game went on, he just became so confident and was a very valuable member of the team. So I think certainly he's got youth on his side. So he should certainly be okay for starting tomorrow, I would guess.
What do you think, Stato?
Oh, I think he plays way into the team at the moment. Yeah. I don't, especially as well at his age, I don't think you're going to... He can play twice a week.
Yeah.
No, I think,
I think there's no problem. I think this is what it comes down to, really, with West Ham. As such, the amount of times we sit and do these preview shows and we talk about what players are going to start here, there, and everywhere. And I actually don't know, Matt, if we've actually predicted one team
right yet
correctly.
I think maybe some of the Premier League teams, because
maybe earlier on in the Premier League, but as the games were coming on, especially after Brentford, I mean, I think
once we started rotating,
like.
Especially the cup games. I think we're all over the place on the cup games.
Yeah, absolutely. Dramatically wrong. And I think with the news that Krol is going to be out for the
gutted, because this has been nailed on for him to start.
Yeah, absolutely. What do we think about Lanzini, though, potentially stepping into the plate? I'll put this one over to you, John, because we know that, we know what he's capable of doing going forward, but we also have seen him sitting more in a deeper role and kind of dictating play from back there as well. Is that something we should be looking at?
Well, he's certainly fresh enough to to play either role wherever he comes in. He played every game, and let him start. And to say he's fresh legs. He just literally had a few minutes on Sunday, I think. But now the manager knows how to play him. I can see there being a role for him tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think, Matt, with regards to another player that's scoring goals in Europe, but not for West Ham, Yarmolenko?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, I've got him on my team sheet, so I think he'll play tomorrow.
You think he will be? You think he's going to feature?
I think we said at the start of the season, didn't we, that we thought there'd be certain players that would probably benefit more in Europe than the Premier League. And in fairness, you go back to the Rapid Vienna game, he had a very good sort of hour. Like, especially in the first half, he was actually dropping in between the lines, and obviously he played that first pass for the
pass over
goal,
for Antonio. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's the sort of game he'll play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. We can discuss the team as we choose the team as we go along. So if you are in the chat, I want you to all start naming your starting 11 who you would like to see West Ham play tomorrow evening against Genk in the Europa League. So, John, this is where Matt gets really excited because we bring on some graphics onto the screen. Now, they're not the best graphics in the whole wide world, but they do a job and they let everyone know exactly what goes on. So let's get straight into it and talk about the two goalkeepers that are up for being chosen for the game. Fabianski coming off a fantastic and decent performance against Everton. Areola has been, as of late, our cup keeper. Are we both agreeing? Are we all agreeing that it will be Areola tomorrow evening?
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yes.
Yep. So we'll just remove Fabianski from in there. Now let's move into the left back position. Two players that could be up for grabs here, or there could be three, depending on how you look at it, is Aaron Creswell, Arthur Masuaku, and if you really wanted to, you could probably bring Ben Johnson in there as well. So what are we thinking for the left back position? And what formation, John, would you prefer us to play tomorrow?
Oh boy! Well, out of those three, there, I wouldn't put Arthur in as a left back. I think we've all seen that he's stronger further up front, further up the left hand side than the left back. So beyond that, I don't know. I really just don't know. We've got options, I think, with if Mike is in there and Yarmolenko and so on up front, and then work it back from there.
What do you think, Matt? I mean, I think personally, I think he's going to go with Creswell. He's stuck with Creswell a lot for the Europa League, and I think right now Creswell's not showing any signs of, he's been a consistent performer. He's not dipping in form in any way at all. He's, well, come on, what are you going to say? You look like you're going to say something there.
The fact that Masuaku's been fit for games and hasn't played at all, tells me that he's really not fancied. I would have probably had this down as a Ben Johnson left back job, but I think Johnson's the only really properly fit right back. So,
that's what I was going to bring into the equation. Is so. I mean, in order to pick the left back, let's have a look at the right back position, because what we believe is Fredericks is in training. So the option could
training and fit different things.
Yeah, I know, but if he is fit enough, I mean, Fredericks could play there, and you could put Johnson in there, resting Creswell for the game. But I think that would be pretty harsh on Johnson, because, like John said, I think he probably needs the run of games, to be honest. Especially coming into the right back. Yeah. So
I would say his last performance, he's probably in front of Fredericks at the moment, which is unfortunate for Fredericks, because he was actually in good form when he stepped up.
Yeah. So are we going to commit then to putting Johnson in at right back and Creswell in at left back?
Yeah.
For me, yes.
Yeah, I think so as well, absolutely. So there you go. Right, centre-half pairings. There's 4 centre-halves we can choose from in here. That is Dawson, Ogbonna, Zuma, and Diop. Now, I think we probably are confident that the 2 players that performed really well at the weekend, Ogbonna and Zuma, will get a rest this weekend, tomorrow evening. Are we agreeing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, John? No.
I mean, Dawson was very solid when he came on Sunday, and we've seen Diop play already comfortably this season. So with Sunday coming up, I'd give the other 2 a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into the midfield. Where are we going to go with the deep line midfielders? Let's bring out who could be there. So we think Noble's going to be missing for the game. Is that right? I think he's picked up a knock. We know that Krol is missing for the game, so off he goes, off he trots. Souček, Rice, and Lanzini are really the players that can play in those 2 positions. What are we thinking?
I wrote down Rice and Lanzini.
Yeah. John?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I'll be brutally honest here. I genuinely think he's going to keep Souček and Rice in that.
Yeah, I was going to say I've written down Rice and Lanzini.
Yeah.
However, the way he spoke about him in the press conference today, saying he wants to play, he's good to play.
Yeah.
The only reason
for me, and I get the fact that people say that he needs a rest in particular, but he is still top of the charts for absolutely everything he is doing in that game, running in that game, and he is, he is all over the shop. And the thing is, we want our players playing in the biggest games, and Rice has stated that from the start. I want to be playing in the biggest games I possibly can, and I get we've got Tottenham coming up on Sunday, but I do think Rice and Souček are capable of playing this game. But would that be then harsh on the type of player that Lanzini is? I don't question Rice.
There's still room for Lanzini in this team.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So let's get Mark Noble out there. Let's keep Rice and Souček in the team as it stands. We'll keep Lanzini sitting there. Okay, where are we moving to next?
I'm pretty sure based on what he's done so far in the cup, Antonio's still going to start up front.
Yeah, I agree. I think he will. What do you think on that, John? Do you think that's a bit too much?
I
or
expect him to start as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So we drop him in.
Yeah.
And
And
it's our
we
favourite
know from the press
game next.
well, no, we will know from the press conference that Vlasic is starting.
Yeah.
So is he going to sit in behind?
I reckon he might go on the wing.
He goes in the wing and the right wing because Benny started the last game. Other side, sorry, left. Yeah,
left wing. Well, this be one of the ones where they chop and change.
Yeah.
So he may play in the middle at points and then out on the wing on points.
Okay, so where do you see players going next? Then I'll put this one over to you, Matt.
So as I said, Vlasic will be floating between the left and the middle, chopping and changing. I think with Lanzini. Right.
Okay. So Lanzini drops in here,
and then they sort of rotate round.
Yeah. What do you think of that, John?
Yes. Yeah. So far, yeah, I'll go with that.
Yep. And then on the right hand side,
my disappointing. I've written him down exactly in that position as well. Is Yarmolenko.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, John. I mean, what you're saying here is,
I'd like to see him, and certainly Jared Bowen, I think, needs a rest with Sunday coming up, because he just runs into the ground every game. So give him a rest, or put him on the bench at least. But Yarmo can prove himself, and of course, he scored all those goals for his country against foreign defenders, and they're the ones who we're playing tomorrow. So you never know; that could be what motivates him to get on the score sheet again for us.
I think also what you've got with Lanzini is that if, say, the likes of Declan Rice does decide to move forward, that Lanzini has the ability to sit and dictate play from there as well, and vice versa. If Souček or what they both could do is they both could go forward. Now, I know he's not the best tackler, but he's got a good engine in him, and he can dictate play from back there. And that's going back to the kind of triangle that West Ham had when we had Souček, Noble, and Rice playing right back at the start of just before lockdown initially. But I mean, I like that. I'm going to jump into the chat and see what everyone is saying. Trev Tube is saying Lanzini pulling the strings, give Scarface a rest. I know he's well hard, but a rest will do him the world of good. Let's have a look and see what else. Liam saying Tottenham are resting all their players, so should we. I wouldn't play Souček or Johnson or Antonio. Troj is saying Johnson left back, Harry Ashby right back. Do you think there's an opportunity for any young players in tomorrow's game? I mean, we saw two players come in the mix on the subs bench.
That's what I was going to say
for the Vienna game.
Because don't forget, there was two in the mix in the Vienna game, and as I said, 50-50 Fredericks makes it, Noble's not going to make it, and Krause. So that's, even if it's Noble and Krause, that's two spaces.
Yeah.
So there's potential to have kids on the bench.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he was saying Benrahma, Vlasic, Yarmolenko, and Antonio.
I had that written down originally, that actually, but then I was like, you know what?
It sounds like you've got a lot written down, mate.
You want to see it? I'll get it out for you.
I'm only joking. No, you're fine. You're all right. Yeah. You're all right, mate.
Crossed it out.
You're all right, mate. He says, Picard says, I think Moyes will stick with his best 11, and he might do. He might want to go and get that result, but I do think there is going to be changes. I don't think
we've said before, haven't we? Now that Moyes has said it's not an 11 anymore; it's a 22, 23.
Yeah,
and he expects them all to fill in and play well and step up when they're given the opportunity. So,
absolutely.
I think Moyes is giving more, like letting go of the leash more and more in terms of what he lets them do. So I don't think you'd have an issue rotating around and giving guys an opportunity.
Yeah. Crazy Call is saying Lanzini. Liam DA saying I would rest Johnson 100% for Sunday. He's young and maybe absolutely shattered for Sunday. I would play Fredericks. I don't think he would be shattered. I agree with you, John. I think he's
20,
young enough
21?
be able to handle.
He can do it.
Yeah. Alfie saying Areola, Johnson at left back, Ashby, Diop, Dawson, Rice, Noble, Bowen, Vlasic, Lanzini, and Yarmo up top. I mean, we could see a player like Ashby. We could see a young player, one young player bedded into this team.
Baptiste?
At this moment, Baptiste was on the bench.
Play left back in the pre-season?
No, that was Areola. Baptiste actually. Do you know what Baptiste actually did? Baptiste played centre half, but in pre-season actually moved through the central midfield and sat deep as a deep lying midfielder. So he's
What
got
about
the
someone like
ability
an
to
Ekwa?
step. Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be. Well, he could be included, couldn't he? Could be. Yeah. And Neil's saying Fredericks, Diop, Dawson, and Johnson. So you can see, because everyone's got difference of opinions, and this is what makes
I
these
can see
shows.
that team happening if Fredericks is fit.
Yeah.
Maybe purely because, yes, Johnson can play equally fit twice a week, but maybe Creswell can't.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll start Yarmo, Vlasic, Areola, Benny, Dawson, Masuaku, Diop, Noble, and Rice and Johnson, and someone else. A player, just to come, bring it back to it, Vlasic attended the press conference with David Moyes today, and he did say that he would be playing the game tomorrow. A big game for him, John?
Oh, very much so. Yes, gives him the chance to shine, starting from scratch, and of course he knows we all want to see him play as well.
Yeah. Do you think, Matt, that it's such a big game for the likes of Vlasic that he says in the press conference today that he feels like just a goal might kickstart his West Ham career, a bit like how we were thinking of Ben Rama this time last year, and we were all craving that Ben Rama goal, and then it would kickstart and him moving forward. What do you think?
Well, it did, didn't it, in a sense? But it's a shame it came so late in the season.
Yeah.
It almost took the back end of the season for him to finally get going, and then he was ready and raring to go in this season.
Yeah.
I'm sure I give him a bit of confidence. It never doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
Defensive players like clean sheets.
Yeah.
Attacking players like goals. Look, I think, did Moyes not say a couple of weeks back it might take him 6 months to acclimatise?
Well, he did say. What he actually did say in his in his press conference is, let me find it now if I've got it, which I do. On Vlasic, where is the one on Vlasic? There it is here. We really like him. We've been really pleased by him. He come into a relatively settled side, which we've got at the moment, but we'll use him tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. If I had my way, I'd like to let the players have the chance to settle and everybody get the chance to know them. So he highlights the fact that he likes to bed these players in a different way to the fans expect, but he's willing to give these players a chance to shine, and maybe a game like tomorrow could be the right game for him to shine. Because I tell you what, lads, if we get Vlasic coming out of the game tomorrow on a bit of form, then what an option coming off the bench for West Ham, when against the Spuds on Sunday. So, it's not a bad place to really be in. But the thing is, what we're seeing here is a huge difference of opinions between all the fans as well.
Which is good, because it means if we don't know who's picking it, then how's the opposition going to know?
Forged, I think that is at Gatesy. If it is, say hi. Hope you're well. Forged from Ireland. They've got their own YouTube channel. Go across and check them out and hit the subscribe button. In Genk squad, they have a guy called Joseph Panstill. I have no idea if he's related to John. Don't think he is. I've done a little bit of research on it. We had a Genk fan on. We don't think he is related to John Panstill. Just for your relevance, they also have a former Spuds keeper. They do. Christian in midfield as well. So let's get on to the nitty-gritty of the game. It's predictions time, so get your predictions in if you are watching right now, and we'll ask all the lads on the show. Right, it's that interesting time. We got the prediction from Mikey, the Genk fan, who said 2-1 either way for both teams tomorrow night. John, over to you. No pressure.
2-0. Vlasic with an early goal just to settle his nerves and get him playing properly, and then Mikey with a second and job done.
Absolutely. I'll take that. I'll take that off your hands right now, John. Get West Ham on to 9 points and keep the other teams on 3 with 3 games to go. Matt?
Yeah.
I'm going big tomorrow. I'm going to go 4-0.
Oh, it's a bit cocky, isn't it?
I'm confident, mate. I'm actually confident for tomorrow.
Yeah.
4-0.
Nah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I want West Ham to keep a clean sheet, and I think we won't. I'm going to say it'll be 3-1. It'll be 3-1 to West Ham. So we'll win by a 2-goal cushion, but it'll be a bit frightening at times. Genk are aside, like any side who are not performing, should be a team to fear sometimes. We need to watch out for teams like that because they're looking for that switch, that opportunity, that sense of opportunity to turn things back on, to kickstart their season. Let's take a look at them in their current league stats. I mean, they're sitting 6th in the league. They've lost 4 games. They have won 5. They've scored 21 and conceded 17. But for them, it's not been a fantastic season so far, but they are still only 5 points from top of the league. So we're not coming up against an absolutely awful European side. But I'm going to go through the comments and go through the predictions. John, thank you so much. Just before you go, do you want to just kind of let everyone know again where they can find you and how they can donate?
Yeah, sure. We'll be there from 5 o'clock tomorrow on the benches on the left-hand side, opposite the old Park Information Centre. So if you're heading towards a stadium from Stratford and Westfield, we're just before the Aquatic Centre on the left-hand side. Look out for the banners. And if the banners aren't up, at least I'll be there by the benches. And again, we're looking for donations of non-perishable foods, donations to the QR code panels that we'll have, or good old cash. We're very, very grateful. And it'll all go towards helping the Newham community, Newham Food Bank. Thanks in advance. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. John, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Myself and Matt are just going to have a little kind of chat at the end here. And I'll be seeing you in 2022, mate. I'll be seeing you in 2022, but we'll stay in touch as we normally do.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
for the invitation.
Cheers for that, John.
Okay,
Thanks
guys.
for the time.
Cheers, John.
Take it easy. Cool. Really nice to have John on as well. It's great. On top of that, though, we are also, thanks to my amazing, heavily pregnant wife, are launching a West Ham bauble, Christmas bauble, where there's going to be a £1 donation made to the Iron Support and Food Banks. So I've put a link here. Here's the up close and personal what the bauble looked like. All handmade, and all nice bit of texture, as you can see there from the image. West Ham personalised charity bauble, they're called. So if you are interested, I'll put a link in the chat. You can go across there and it can be personalised for any name that you are looking for. Currently, we are shipping to just the UK and Ireland. But if there are any queries of anyone that's further afield, they can contact my wife on the website and we can negotiate some whatever happens depending on where you live. But I love mine. It's going on the Christmas tree. I can't wait. I'm absolutely buzzing about it. And you know, it's a great present as well for people who want them personalized. It looks like a little cheeky football top on the back there. Let me see if I can get that one. Yeah, you can put your favorite number on as well with your surname and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, get yourself involved if you are interested in that. Let me jump in here to the chat and see what everyone's predictions are, Matt. Dino is saying 7-0. Wowzers. Vinay is saying 3-0 to West Ham. Neil T is saying 3-1. Liam D is saying 3-0 comfortably. Forge from Iron Gates is saying 3-0 West Ham. Hostage, Gray, Stelchenko, 5-0 West Ham. Yarmo and Bennett to get the goals. Steve Irons saying 4-0. Lee Vassallo saying 3-0 West Ham. Come on, you Irons. London's counting blue. Lee, mate, what are we? What are we? Desjardins, Letalek, Vlasic, I'm not sure about, maybe paid over the top for what we got, but hoping he will be a good addition. Paul Evans is saying 3-0, Crazy Call saying 2-0, P. Gads saying West Ham win 5-1, Yarmo and Dawson hat-trick, Hans Wasler saying 3-0 to West Ham, Alfie saying 2-0 West Ham, Rice Vlasic will keep a clean sheet, Anil saying 2-0, Troj saying Dawson to score, Desjardins, Letalek, I love that name, Desjardins, 2-0, James Bong, 5-4 West Ham. Thank you very much. Wow, it's huge. Ariola's quality from Paul Evans. 4-0 to the Claret and Blue. And John's been on saying thanks to everyone for tonight and also to Mrs. Baker for the forthcoming food bank donations. Thank you very much, John. Bob Claret saying 3-1 West Ham. Gary J saying thank you to John. 2-1 from Gary for West Ham. Aidan saying 3-0 and 1-0 West Ham and 9 points from 3 games from Rhonda and Tony Tanti. So, tomorrow evening, I will be doing the watch along match day live. It looks like I'll be doing it. See, maybe I'll have a couple of guests coming on, but it won't be yourself, Matt. It won't be Stell. It won't be Russ. It won't be young Jakey Boy. It will be Luke. So, we'll have some guests coming on. So, make sure you do join us for the Matchday Live. We will have some content coming out throughout the day. Make sure you join Russ's lunchtime live as well, and enjoy getting to the stadium in enough time. Shall I tell you why? Why, Matt? Why do you want to get to
Because
the
that
stadium
light
in enough
show
time?
was pretty impressive last time.
Yeah.
It was, to be fair.
Yep. Get yourself involved.
Quick shout out to our sponsors, Football Prizes.
Yes, absolutely.
Two new prizes up today.
Yes.
There's
We need to
two.
get them. Yep.
There's a flash sale. It's only up. Comes out 7:30 Friday. 29 tickets available. $9.95 a ticket. 2 hospitality tickets to the West Ham Man City game next week.
Cool.
So that's a short one. Only 29 tickets available. 2 already sold. And then there is also one that's up.
Declan Rice montage.
Yes, the Declan Rice montage.
Let's just see if I've got this here. Yep. So I'm bringing it up for you just now.
It's also up till Friday.
Yep. So there's your competition. Prize draw to win 2 hospitality tickets to West Ham versus Manchester. I mean, it's a great competition, to be fair. I mean, for the price of a tenner, you could have a proper hospitality option there. So go and check that one out. And then the other one that they have launched today, let me just quickly check, is the Declan Rice montage. As you can see, there's quite a lot of here.
$3.95 a ticket, 49 tickets available, 12 sold already.
Yep.
It is the option of West
Ham. Winner's
Ham
choice, Declan
Everton
Rice
one.
or an Alan Everton signed one. So there you go, £3.95 to enter that competition. So get yourself involved and enjoy it. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a long one. People are asking, Matt, how many tickets have you bought?
None, mate. None.
Aiden, yes.
My wall's complete. And I don't need to buy any more tickets.
Aiden, they do, mate. They do ship internationally. Forge for Man Gatesy. Guys, please don't forget to support West Ham Network and like this stream. You know it makes sense. Thank you, Gatesy. Gary saying how many tickets you bought. Thanks, lads. Great show. Be lucky, chat. Stay safe. Stay massively. Absolutely. Oh, I never done what you said. Leave us out. We are massive. Moyes will go for the win. Let's have it, West Ham. Get behind the boys tomorrow. Can't wait to see it. Absolutely buzzing. Let's hope we get the victory and go into the Tottenham game feeling confident and positive. Player you fear the most from Genk?
Go for the obvious. You know what? Actually, no. I'm going to go for the goalkeeper.
Right, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he's a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, and do you know what? I've listened very carefully to Mikey, and I'm going to say the player we should fear the most is Ito. He looks like he's going to be the creative option, the guy that creates opportunities for Oniachu, and we really need to nullify the threat of him tomorrow. Who's the player they should fear the most, though, Matt?
If he starts, you know what? I'll go Declan Rice because he's actually 2 for 2 so far.
Deckers, yeah.
And
I'm gonna go. He's not scored in a couple of games, but I'm gonna go Antonio. Right, that calls it for the evening. Yes. 2 thumbs down, Stell and Russ. Desjardins, Letalek, how are you going to fit my name on the bauble? Get in contact and we'll see what we can do. Don't you worry. Daniela, there your YouTube on the there are a YouTube video on the celebrity that support the Hammers. Daniela, I don't know what you mean. Sorry. Excellent show, guys, with another excellent guest. Chib, Matt, if I give you the cash, will you buy tickets for me? Lottery 2. Cheers. There you go. Listen,
I didn't win on the Euros, so
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We've covered loads tonight. Genk preview. We've had John on from the Iron Support and Food Banks. We've launched the Christmas Bauble. We're going to dedicate some money that's going to the Iron Support and Food Banks for that. We've talked about football prizes. We've had an opposition fan on from Belgium as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Matt, you're going to be at the game tomorrow. I'm going to send you the link. Try your best to log on. There's your warning. Try your best to log on for a minute if you can. Give the fans everything they want to see. And even if it's for the light show, Matt, get us on the light show. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Come on, you Irons. Subscribe, like, and comment to the channel. Come on, you Irons.